welcome to How We Met. I'm Sheryl Strich, and every month I interview two couples who tell their story about how they met. Today I have Gary and Linda Russell. Linda's a licensed clinical social worker and is still working, and having worked as a medical and school social worker, therapist, and clinical supervisor, she's now consulting with the OC Department of Education. She hasn't officially joined any clubs yet, but attends events, and according to Gary, is a Zumba fanatic. Gary is active in pickleball, having just won silver in the Village Games. He's also president of the PC Club and teaches classes there. And I've been told that he writes and records music. Welcome, Gary and Linda. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having us.
Great to be here.
I should have worn my medals, but I only had gold.
Well.
Sorry.
Well,
That's still good.
Anyway, as you know, because I told you before, I always ask 3 questions. So the first question is, where are you from?
Go ahead.
I'm from Newport Beach.
Ooh.
I'm a local girl.
All the way.
Yep.
Okay.
Went to Corona Del Mar High and
Okay.
stayed here, spent a couple years in upstate New York, but basically stayed in Southern California.
Great place to be from.
It is.
How about you, Gary?
My roots go back to Northwest Ohio, Midwest, and then I just kept moving west. Went to school at Wisconsin, Madison, and then came to California in 1983.
Were you in Wisconsin during the student strikes?
Yeah, we had our fair share of those, yes. Very liberal campus and a very conservative state.
I always thought I wanted to be in Wisconsin, but I didn't go there.
Madison is fantastic.
That's a beautiful place.
Let me remember what my next question is. How long have you been a couple?
That goes back to 1991.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've been a couple since 1991.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been in Laguna Woods?
That's a year and 4 months.
You've been in Laguna Woods
Only a year and 4 months.
Only a
December of 23.
Right.
Wow.
We came in.
Oh,
yes.
boy.
Feels longer.
I feel like you've been here forever.
Yeah.
Gee.
Well, Gary.
Yeah. A lot of people have that sensation. Sure.
Okay.
Feels longer.
All right. How'd you meet?
Okay, I'll start us off.
Okay.
We had a sort of a ritual where we had a party in Placentia with a bunch of
Guys had a party?
bunch of guys had a party looking for a bunch of girls to come to the party because we were all engineers. And one of the hosts of the party had met a woman, and it turns out they now live here in Laguna Woods too.
They're very dear friends of ours. Yeah. They came first.
Have
That's
they
right.
been on my show?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Try
Okay.
to get them on.
Okay, good.
But Linda showed up at that party, and we struck up a conversation, but did not see each other for a while. She dated a friend of mine first.
Oh,
Yeah, well, okay, so this party, Dave, his friend, as he said, lots of man friends from Raytheon.
okay.
And I worked at Chalk at the time with Joy, who later became Dave's wife. But Joy was a recreation therapist, and I'm kind of not social, to be honest. I'm a social worker, but,
Antisocial
antisocial
worker.
social worker. Joy, on the other hand, dragged me everywhere. She's like, come on, you gotta go. And she did that because Chalk, Children's Hospital, is full of women.
Right.
So-
And Raytheon was full of men.
Full of men.
Mostly.
So I went to this party with her kind of reluctantly, and quite frankly, never made it out of the foyer. It was like a reception line. Hi, my name is... And so we barely met at that party. And
But you met Dave.
had known Dave,
Oh.
and I met another fella
Okay.
who had the temerity to ask me out first.
Ah, okay.
So we dated briefly, and then...
Good friend of mine, good guy.
Yeah.
Why'd you let him jump ahead?
Well, I was seeing somebody at the time, but he
Just as well.
he sees the initiative. Good for him.
Yeah.
And I do remember when I was ready to ask her out, I did talk to him and say, "Hey, are you okay if I now ask Linda out?"
Okay, so now how long ago was, what was the time?
That was 1991.
No.
Oh,
Was the time you met her? You
Just
met
a couple
her.
of months.
couple of months.
What
Yeah.
made you decide to want to go to date her?
I had my eye on her from the beginning. However, I had to finish up another relationship, and it just took a little while to sort of work out the kinks and decide that.
So
Actually, the first time he asked me out, I already was committed with somebody else, right? My grandmother, but still.
so were you surprised when Gary called you?
No, these are engineers, Cheryl. No.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of planning that went on behind the scenes, I gathered first.
I was told that if I asked her out, she would say yes.
And who told you this?
Well, some friends. They had it locked down.
Okay.
And then I called
See?
and I asked her
Engineers.
out, and she said no.
Did people approach you to find out?
Not really. Well, someone had asked, "Oh, do you remember Gary?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure," because he was a total cutie.
Okay. And then, okay.
So she said no.
She said no?
Yeah,
I
so
did.
much for the sure thing.
Yeah.
So I asked her out for the next night, and she goes, no, I can't make that either. And I was thinking, okay, my inside information wasn't so good.
And you didn't give him any reason why?
Well,
She did.
I did. I explained that I was camping out in the desert with my grandma.
Well,
And so,
I mean, you had to
Hey.
understand that.
then I had to wash my hair. No.
That hit me later in life. Yes. We went out the very next day on a Sunday of all things.
As soon as you got back from camping?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and then that was it.
Wait, quick question. How many generations Newport Beach are you?
3.
3 generations Newport Beach?
Yeah.
What a great life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My grandparents
I'm just a little
Had a
envious
house.
right now.
Yeah, understandably.
gave me
right.
every reason to be.
Okay, let's go on.
Anyway,
All right, so where did you go?
First date was the Spaghetti Factory in Newport Beach.
Okay.
Second date was,
Wait. How soon did you call Linda after the first date?
I think it was 2.25 days I waited.
Did you expect him to call you?
absolutely, I expected. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we were not babies at this point.
Okay.
He was
Mid-30s, 34.
34, and I was, well, no, you were 33. Oh, well,
Yep.
mid-30s.
Okay. All right.
So I'm older than Gary.
Oh, aren't we all?
Not our first
Yeah.
rodeo, though, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
I knew the proper length of time to wait. Not too soon. You don't want to go too soon.
Okay, and then did you just become an item?
Pretty quick. It
pretty
took
quick,
about
yeah.
2 or 3 dates. Five Crowns Restaurant in Dana
Ooh.
Point was number 2.
Ooh, okay, that's a nice
And
date.
then we eventually worked our way up to the Summit House in Fullerton and the Hobbit in Orange. So, I was trying to impress her.
Were you suitably impressed?
Suitably impressed, although The Hobbit was kind of a interesting. He
Yeah.
got sick in the. I don't know if you remember The Hobbit, or if you know about The Hobbit. Very, very fancy. Multiple courses.
Okay.
And he got sick after the second course and disappeared.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I was sitting there, and the chefs were bringing all this fancy food, and they very kindly look at me. I was like, "You should be coming back any minute now." And I ended up. They would, if you had leftovers, they'd put it in a big tinfoil swan. And I ended up with a flock of swans in front of me. He never was able to come back.
Oh, no.
He was super
Not
sick.
my best moment, but
Did
makes
you
for a
dri-
great story.
Did you drive there together?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he was, yeah.
Okay.
I got him home.
Yeah, and then we started dating and said we're going to have a 5-year plan, right? Which didn't go very far. We made it only 1 year, and instead of let's do this, then let's get married, then let's have a baby. We had the baby first, and then we got married, and all this other stuff just fell into place happily.
Yeah.
So I love your wedding picture with your daughter.
Yeah,
You bet.
Yeah,
you
and
bet.
she had her own special wedding dress.
She
Of
did.
course she did. She was the belle of the ball.
that picture was taken at the Cal State Fullerton Arboretum.
Okay.
On July 16th of 1994 is the day we got married.
Okay.
And she was in the audience being held by a good friend of ours. And as they said, we now pronounce you man and wife. We started walking back. We got to the point where she was, and she started crying, and I stopped, picked her up, and we walked the rest of the way
As a
Oh.
family.
as a family. And some people said that was the highlight of the wedding for us.
How sweet.
Yeah, that was pretty
That's
cool.
wonderful. Does your other daughter mind that she wasn't there?
She reminds us.
She reminds her
Kids are like
sister
that.
sometimes,
That's right.
too. Yeah.
It's a fun
Sounds so
moment.
fun.
It's so
She's-
unfair.
Yeah, missed the party.
All right. So Then what happened? I mean, so then the 5-year plan went
Kablooey.
Yeah,
Kablooey,
yeah. So
yeah.
we moved from Fullerton to Anaheim Hills, had our second child, Claire, in that house.
I was
And-
pregnant when we did the move. and
Okay.
Our poor realtor showed me 48 houses
In the dead of summer.
in the dead of summer in
In
a
Anaheim.
Jaguar with the baby in the back seat throwing crackers over the. That woman was a saint.
Yeah,
But yeah, we found our place in Anaheim Hills where we lived until we moved here.
raised the girls there.
And I know that moving here you had a very big event happen when you moved here.
We were in the middle of big events. He'd lost his sister to pancreatic cancer that year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My mother was dying, which is why we came,
Okay.
so I could be close to her.
Was she living in Laguna Woods?
No,
Newport
she was living
Beach?
in Newport Beach,
Okay.
and I was commuting every
Right.
day from Anaheim Hills.
Okay.
And yeah, so we came down to rent, and then my family came for Christmas. My mother,
Right.
we thought we were going to lose her at Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, he was not feeling great, and went ahead, but I had family and mom and, everything. So he went on ahead home by himself, and I came later, and that's when we had the accident.
I don't know if you want to say.
I can describe the act, well, sort of,
You
from
have
what
2
I
You have
remember.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make
Really
it
quick.
short.
Okay.
Yeah, so I blacked out and hit a nightstand and had a 6-day visit with Mission Hospital and major trauma surgery.
Oh, my.
And that was my welcome to Laguna Woods.
But it was
But-
also what led us to love this place.
Oh, yeah,
Because it's a wonderful place. People were so supportive.
Oh,
Our
good.
neighbors were right there for us. He could recover here in a way
Yes.
he never could have. We could never have. I don't even know if he'd have survived.
Right, because the ambulance, well,
Yeah.
you were passed out, but as soon as
Yeah.
you found him, the ambulance came
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah,
They
right
did, and
away,
then
he
I-
could come home faster
Right.
too.
started walking to Clubhouse 5, working out, and I think I was on the pickleball courts within a month.
Not
Had you been
with my
playing
permission.
pickleball?
Well, not much.
Oh,
So it was a fast recovery,
Right.
and that was my intro to the club.
So for only playing for less than a year, you did really well in the Village Games,
Well, we're coming along.
especially
Maybe
in
I'm
the category
plateaued.
that you were in. I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And you're president of the PC Club?
Yeah,
Is there-
that happened because I started teaching there, and then the current president had some health issues and asked if I'd take over. And we're both in defense industry, so it was a natural transition. And so those are the major 2 things that I do here, and I love it.
So before we're about to wrap up, but is there anything special going on in the PC Club right now?
Well, our general meeting is coming up in June 10th, I think it is, and we welcome everybody to come and learn. And they just announced the broadband, and we're going to be teaching classes on that and helping people with that. So that's
Great.
my little public service announcement there.
Perfect, perfect. Anyway, and there was just an announcement, an email that was just sent out to all.
This morning,
Yes, to
Right.
everybody.
yeah.
So,
So I'm following right behind that, and the PC Club will be helping people with all their questions
oh,
and
perfect.
what they need to know.
Good, perfect. Hey, this wasn't hard. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
I'm
you.
really glad you came. Thank you.
Us too. Thanks for having us.
If you'd like to come on to the show, email us at lwvcouples@gmail.com. Include your name, phone number, and email address, and brief description of your story.